Chancey here for another episode of Walk and Talk. We do have Duffy in town. She's actually wearing her GoPro. It's really windy!
An eternity later.
So, I thought I found a quiet spot, but the wind is still bad. Take 4, I suppose. Chancey here for another Walk and Talk. This time, the talk is inspired by the Rugby World Cup. And for those of you that know me, know that I love my rugby. And not necessarily always because of the way it's played, but because of the values that surround the game and the culture that I've been a part of for the last 25 years. Now, there's a particular game that got me thinking about this subject, and it was the Fiji Wales game. Now, you may have watched this game, you may have your own opinions on it, and for all of my Welsh friends and Welsh fans, this is not Wales bashing. If I was a Welsh fan, I'd be very proud of the performance of my team. I would be very, very encouraged by the character that they showed and that epic defensive performance. However, and there is a however, Fiji were hard done by. We all know this, and you can put it down to the rub of the green, or you can actually look at the facts. And interestingly, lots and lots of articles around this. I'm sure you can do your own homework. You don't have to take my word for it. But the reason why Fiji were so hard done by is because of the cultural differences between the two teams. Wales were very challenging towards authority, i.e. the referee. They would challenge decisions, they would get him to rethink, they would argue, and some might say even disrespectful in certain moments during the game when the pressure was on. Fiji, on the other hand, have a culture of respect for authority. They are very mildly spoken. Generally, as a rugby culture, they do not talk back to the referee, they accept decisions, and they hope and they trust that the authority figures, the referees, will make the right decisions and will reward them for their performance. But that didn't happen, did it? Nope. Fiji were overly punished for probably 1/10 of the infringements that Wales committed. Again, go and have a look at the data. But you didn't come here to hear me moan about the officiating at rugby matches in the World Cup. Nope. You wanted to understand why this matters in business and in particular sales environments. We've all worked in teams where a particular team member moans constantly. It's always complaining about their accounts, about their number, etc., etc., etc. We've also worked in those teams where people suffer in silence. They work their hardest, they do their best with what they've got, they're resourceful, they collaborate, they do all the right things, but they never seem to get the rub of the green. This kind of brings me to this toxic misnomer that nice people never get what they want. This is utter shite. And I know there's a bunch of you disagreeing with me right now, thinking, Craig, you're idealistic. You have to be an absolute a-hole in order to get by in business and to get what you want. This is not true. The answer's somewhere in the middle. And the answer is somewhere in the middle for Fiji and for Wales. If you allow too much moaning, too much complaining to be the obvious path and route to success, then you will create a toxic culture, and it will be a culture of your own making because you are rewarding the very behaviour that is making everyone else miserable. Take it on board. Likewise, if people never speak up, never talk, never ask for what they want, how the hell can you help them? How the hell will you reconsider any of your decisions? You are, after all, a human being, and human beings make mistakes. And you need people around you to challenge you. That's my thought for the day. I'm sure we've all worked in various different cultures and teams. Personally, I know what my preference is, and I think a lot of this is down to good leadership, good leaders that recognise the right behaviour, reward it without necessarily relying on people to drive their own agendas constantly. But interested in your thoughts. What do you think is the right balance? What do you expect from leadership? And what do you think about cultures that reward performance or reward moaning? And look, Duffy and Buttons both agree that we don't want any rugby chat in the comments. Wales should have lost that game. Get over it. Focus on the point I was making, and let's all cheer on Fiji.